Hey everybody, welcome back to another video. Today we are reacting to 10 school trips that went horribly wrong. Yep, school trips. The reason we're reacting to this one is because my daughter went on a school trip about a week and a half ago, and they went to the Czech Republic from here in Slovakia. They got a bus over there and they had a nice day. It was pretty nice. Nothing went horribly wrong at all. She had a really nice time, but this popped up in my feed and I thought, why not give it a quick look. The only thing I can think of that went horribly wrong, or nearly horribly wrong, is when I was a kid, we went on a school trip to a beach in South Africa in a town called Belito. It was about a 2.5, 3 hour drive from our school. Everyone was excited. We were playing in the rock pools. I was really young. I must have been about 7 or 8. And we were catching crustaceans. I'm not going to say crabs. Catching crabs and little bugs, like little things in the water in the rock pools. And one of the kids fell off into the sea and nearly drowned. One of the teachers had to jump in and save him. Fortunately, nothing bad happened. No one was hurt. I mean, it shook him up and everything, but everyone was okay, and that's the main part. Let me know if you guys have been on any school trips that something's gone horribly wrong. I'm quite interested to see, because I mean, school is such an awesome time, isn't it? I miss school. I miss school so much. The simpler times in life. Yeah. The thumbnail is what drew me to this as well. I'm not sure what we're about to see here, so brace yourself. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button. And if you're feeling extra frisky, you may as well hit the like button as well. Without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, let's get into 10 school trips that went horribly wrong.
Hey guys, what's up? It's
Hello, mate.
Charlie here, and today we're going to be looking at 10 school trips that went horribly wrong. We all loved field trips at school. It really didn't matter where you went, it was just better than being stuck at school. But these students would rather be in class because their school trips ended up going horribly wrong, and in some cases changing their lives forever. Before we begin, be sure to click the subscribe button and the bell icon too.
Yes, click the subscribe button.
Coming in at number 10, we have mountain. School trips can be really fun, but it always helps when your teacher isn't totally brainless. This wasn't the case for one class trip that took place in 2014 in the UK. A teacher took her class of 39 girls up a mountain for a trip. The mountain was one of
Her class of 39 girls. I've got 2 children and we like to go on hikes and everything. And sometimes they're a handful, and they're quite big now. My daughter's turning 13, my son's 10. And sometimes they can be a handful. Can you imagine going up with 39 girls? Or 39 boys, or 39 mixed kids up a mountain? Insane.
in the UK. A teacher took her class of 39 girls up a mountain for a trip. The mountain was one of the largest in England, which meant only people who were serious hikers should go up it. But despite the mountain being 2,500 feet up in the air, the teacher thought it would be fine for the girls to wander up there in skirts and sneakers. They soon found this to be impossible and freezing cold, but that's not all. The teacher had also forgotten to take a map or compass with her. It soon got dark and they became lost and were stranded up on the mountain before finally...
Hopefully she got sacked, fired, and never led around kids again, because how irresponsible can you get? I mean, I know it's England and the mountains aren't but still.
Or compass with her. It soon got dark and they became lost and were stranded up on the mountain before finally calling 911. A mountain rescue team soon...
No, 999 in England, not 911. If she called 911, she's even thicker than we thought. She'd be waiting on there forever.
Lost and were stranded up on the mountain before finally calling 911. A mountain rescue team soon found them wearing old garbage bags as they were so cold. Thankfully they were rescued, but it doesn't change the amount of danger this dumb teacher put those kids in.
Yeah, she's an
I'm not
idiot.
sure if she got fired or even sued by one of the kids'
she should
parents. But at the very least, she shouldn't be allowed near any mountains ever again.
No, children, she can go to the mountains.
In 2016,
Sorry, what was that? Monkey Sanctuary.
Next up is Monkey Sanctuary. In 2016, 33 students and 6 teachers from North Cobb High School in Atlanta went on a school trip to Belize. Among those students was 14-year-old...
To Belize! We went on a 2.5 hour, 2-hour trip to Belize. These guys went to Belize.
From North Cobb High School in Atlanta went on a school trip to Belize. Among those students was 14-year-old Tamari Elijah Jackson, who was a freshman at the school. They were visiting a monkey sanctuary for 5 days. On the first day, their first activity was to go into the Sabun River. They were to wade into the river and then after that go hiking. However, the hiking never took place because while the students were wading around the shallow water, Tamari was reported missing. They searched for a while all around the monkey base sanctuary when finally his body was found. However, his passing is said to be very mysterious.
Oh man, he died. Oh
around the
Poor
Monkey
lad.
Bay Sanctuary when
How?
finally his body was found. However, his passing is said to be very mysterious. He was a good swimmer and the water was very shallow. Nobody saw him wander off and his passing appeared to be a total mystery. In 2017, his family sued, saying the staff were aware of his disappearance for hours before doing anything about it. The school had been doing the trip for 4 years and nothing bad had ever happened before. The school now goes to Costa Rica instead since the incident.
I tell you what, it's so worrying. I'm a dad, like I'm proud to be a dad, but wherever I was saying to my missus last night, like it doesn't matter how old they get. Whenever they leave this house, I'm stressed about them. It doesn't, like, I always worry about them. I don't know why. They're responsible kids. I mean, my son can be a bit irresponsible sometimes, but I put it down to high spirits and boys being boys. But flippin' heck, I stress about them. Imagine getting that news when your kids are supposed to be safe on a trip. Even suing the school, I mean, it wouldn't make anything better, would it?
Next up is morgue. Field trips are usually to fun, inspiring
Morgue.
places to get kids excited about learning, or just a few to
What?
drive the class to be quiet. However, back in 2010, a New York school thought it would be a
In
great
New
idea
York
to
as
visit
well.
the local morgue. For those who don't know, the morgue is where bodies are stored after the people have passed away. So the high school took a group of students to Staten Island morgue. Now that's already creepy, but I guess it
What
did give them
a
a better understanding.
shit field trip. A morgue. Oh, man. I wouldn't have gone to school that day. I don't want to go to a
Students
morgue.
to Staten Island morgue. Now that's already creepy, but I guess
Ugh.
it did give them a better understanding of science. They saw many odd and scary things, but the cherry on top of the cake was a brain in a jar. The kids were fascinated by it and asked the tour guide for more information about it. She said it was a brain floating in formaldehyde that they use to keep brains fresh so they can examine and experiment with them. However,
Fair
one
enough.
student turned the jar around and saw a name tag that sent a chill down their spine. The name on the jar was of a student that went to their high school before they were involved in a terrible car collision months
man.
earlier. Of course, the kids on the trip told the entire school and word quickly spread to the kids' parents.
What
They
the
were
heck? Oh, imagine that as a child. I don't care, teenager. Teenager's still a child in my eyes. I was a child as a teenager. You know, imagine seeing that. One of the kids that was at school, and you're like, oh, here's a.
Of course, the kids on the trip told the entire school and
parents.
word quickly spread to the kids' parents. They were furious as they'd barely gotten over it happening in the first place. But what's more, they weren't
Sure.
even told, nor had they given permission for the
I was just
medical
going to say,
examiner to
surely
do
they would need permission or something to take the kid's brain out. I mean,
this.
it's
It really makes you
disgusting.
wonder how many other people they secretly did this to as well. The parents sued the medical examiner for $1 million for doing this,
I
and
would
I
have
have to
sued for
say,
more.
rightly so. Next up is plantation. Back in the days of the slave trade was a terrible
no.
time in American history. However, it's important that we learn from our mistakes, which is why it's taught in schools. Most schools take
I
care
think I
to
know where
explain
this is
delicately
going.
to young kids what took place. But one school was far from sensitive during a field trip back in 2013. The 4th grade class went to a plantation house turned museum in Georgia, USA. Everything was meant to be interactive and authentic.
Great movie, Django. What a movie.
And even had actors who dressed as slaves or slave owners. The kids also did activities, including some rather cringeful ones such as cotton picking. But wait, it gets much, much worse. The class was split into 2 groups, with the black children being sent to cotton pick while the white kids tried on
What?
old-timey clothing and
What? How can you think that's a wise or a smart idea? That is so freaking insensitive, and it's freaking disgusting, really.
inside the house. I'm sure the plantation museum employees didn't mean to be offensive, but
Well,
talk
it
about an
doesn't matter.
ill-advised activity. I'm guessing they were trying to recreate how the old times were, but they really didn't think it through. Suffice to say, the parents and some of the kids were not happy, and the school and plantation quickly apologized. At least nobody passed away on this trip, but it must have been pretty uncomfortable. Next up is Nudist Beach. In 2015, a group of Cub Scouts...
And you think, as a teenage boy, you think, awesome, we found a nudist beach. Wait till you get there, lads. Wait till you get there. I had to go do a job near a nudist beach once, and it's nothing anybody wants
Aged
to
9
see.
and 10
Trust
visiting
me.
a beach in San Diego. They were being chaperoned by parents and Cub Scout leaders. It was all normal until they saw one man getting undressed. They assumed he was crazy or something, but as they continued their hike, they realized they'd wandered onto a nudist beach. The parents and
Oh,
group
man.
leaders quickly tried to change the route they were taking to get the kids away from all the naked people. However, they took a wrong turn and got lost on the nudist beach.
How
The
do you
parents
get
were
lost
left
on a
unimpressed
beach?
when one of the leaders tried to reassure them by saying he goes through here all the time. Eventually, they got out and had to face a pack of
That's
angry
so-
parents when it
See,
came
this
time for
one's
the kids to be
funny.
picked up. It just goes to show you
Scarring,
that something
but
simple like
funny.
a walk on the beach can turn into the worst field trip ever. Or maybe the best if those Boy Scouts were just a few years older. Afterwards, they even had to have a meeting with the group leaders, parents, and local officials in order to assess the situation. The Boy Scouts of
Old
America
men
said
with
proper
wrinkly
protocol was followed
balls,
during
ah.
the incident. However, the parents disagreed. One parent even said she was nauseated by seeing all the naked people on the beach. Okay,
Yeah,
that is a
husband
bit of an
is. She was.
overreaction and kind of offensive to the people on the beach too. Jeez. Next up is water park. So some of these trips sound a little
sounds
boring
alright.
and educational, like going to an old plantation or a morgue. However, going to a water park during
Yeah,
school time
sounds
sounds
cool.
fun and is perhaps every kid's dream. However, in 2015, a class of kids from the UK went to Barcelona, Spain and visited a water park.
What? They went to Barcelona in Spain. The other class went to Belize. Okay, that ended tragically, but flipping heck, I never went
However,
anywhere
in
awesome.
2015, a class of kids from the UK went to Barcelona, Spain and visited a water park. The teachers told them all to use sunscreen as the temperatures were near 40 degrees. The teachers offered them factor 50 cream, however the kids
40
being
is
kids
hot.
didn't want this. Thanks to this, 4 kids were
Yeah.
sunburnt so badly they had to go to hospital. 15-year-old Connor Pritchard had to spend weeks in hospital since the trip.
Whose fault is that? Is that the teacher's or the student? He's 15. He should know better. If he's not going to listen, the teacher's not going to hold down a 15-year-old kid and put sunscreen on him. So I think it's both of them not to blame.
However, believe it or not, the parents were mad at the teachers about this.
Yeah, come
The
on.
teachers said they told the kids to apply sunscreen, but of course couldn't do it themselves. If your kid burns themselves at a water park, that's not the teacher's fault, especially if these kids were old enough to make their own choices.
Yeah, and I mean, if a teacher starts rubbing sun cream on one of my kids and my kids have said no, I'm going to be more wound up that the teacher's rubbing cream, like touching my child, if that makes sense. You're 15, mate, you burnt, that's your own fault, deal with it.
Themselves at a water park,
Don't
that's
blame
not the
the
teacher's
teachers at
fault,
that
especially
age.
if these kids were old enough to make their own choices. But now the school says they might ban all future school trips if the children can't follow the rules.
One bad apple.
Next up is beach. One day in 2015, a Texas school went on a field trip to a beach. Now that sounds nice enough, however, as
love the
kids
beach. I
sometimes
miss
do
the
at
beach
beaches,
so
one
much.
went missing. It was a 12-year-old girl named Samira Carlo. Despite being at the beach with 19 classmates and 2 teachers, she went missing while swimming. She was fairly far out to sea, standing on a sandbank with a teacher and several other
Flippin'
female
heck.
students. Some of the other kids began to get scared by the waves and being fairly far out in the sea, so one teacher brought them back to the shore. However, when they were back at the shore, they turned around and didn't see Samira.
Oh, no.
Rescue teams, the police and Coast Guards searched for 4 hours before her body was finally found. Her mom was spotted at the beach devastated, as anyone would be. The next day, the students were
Why does
glued
this guy sound so upbeat about it? Flippin' heck, that is horrible. That is horrible. Whenever we take the kids and that to the beach, I was taught something from a very young age. Never turn your back on the sea and always respect it. Always, 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 because the sea has no mercy.
Her mom was spotted at the beach devastated, as anyone would be. The next day, the students wore blue into class, which was Samira's favorite color, and many students
shame.
also wore both
Bless
to
her.
commemorate her. This is one of the saddest and worst field trips ever. Not to mention, the teachers really
Well,
should have
sound
kept
a
track
bit
of what
more
all of
sad,
their
mate.
students were doing if they were going to take them so far out to sea. Next up is movies. Watching a movie doesn't sound like a bad school trip, right? I mean, the movie theater is overpriced and sticky,
not a
but it's
big
not all
cinema
that bad.
guy.
Well, once you hear about
rather
this
watch
field
a movie
trip
at
in
home.
context, your mind will change. One day, the Dallas Independent School District transported 5,000 boys from various schools in the Dallas area to a movie theater to see Red Tails.
5,000?
Red Tails is an inspiring movie about black men overcoming barriers in the military due to their race. But what about the girls, you might be asking? Well, they had to stay in school and watch Akila and the Bee, which is all about a black girl competing in a spelling bee. The school board meant was they were just trying to empower black students and teach them some black history. However, the segregation of boys and girls made parents pretty mad. Women in the military also got mad too, and don't even get me started on black women in the military. The district defended themselves, saying the movie theater couldn't hold all the students. However, there was just
two
too many
trips.
holes in that excuse. Next up is Pregnant. This one took place at a high school in
This is where the thumbnail, I think, came in. I'm a bit worried about this one.
Next up is Pregnant. This one took place at a high school in Florida. One group of students went to a rural town and bunked together at a hotel for the duration of a field trip. The trip was 5 days long, so not that much could happen in that time, right? Well, that's where you would be wrong. When the students returned, it was discovered that 4 of the female students were pregnant. They were
4?
around
Oh, what the hell were the teachers doing? When did these kids have time? 4.
When the students returned, it was discovered that 4
Oh.
of the female students were pregnant.
I would go berserk.
There were around 20 boys and 30 girls in the trip, and they'd all stayed in the same hotel. The parents were livid, and they said the teachers didn't do enough to prevent this happening. And they were extra mad, seeing as the students were only 17 years old. At least the students had fun on the field trip, even if they will have to put up with a screaming kid for 6 years. And to
For 6 years? No, it doesn't stop. My daughter's 13, my son's 10, and they still argue like cats and dogs and scream and shout. And I used to have hair. Flippin' hair. Can you imagine your child going on a school trip and then coming home pregnant? Someone is gonna get it. I will lose the plot.
At least the students had fun on the field trip,
Yeah.
even if they will have to put up with a screaming kid for 6 years. And to top it all off, they're even too old to appear on 16 and Pregnant and make some money out of the situation.
Alright, mate.
Next up is Disneyland. Do you think you have mean teachers? Well, I bet they're nothing compared to the teachers at this school. As a reward for their students
sounds
graduating,
alright,
teachers at
Disneyland.
Rosedale Public School told their 8th graders they'd be going on a Disneyland school trip. Brochures were printed and a long presentation was given to the kids. They even made the kids do roommate arrangements and created a schedule for the Disneyland
no.
trip. The kids were obviously very excited, as what could be better than a trip to Disneyland with all your friends?
I think I
it
know
wasn't
what's
long until
coming.
the teachers broke some bad news to them. They admitted it was all one big prank. You see,
Oh.
the teachers had lied about going to
That is so cruel. How can you do that to kids? They would be so gutted. Oh, are we going to Disneyland? No, actually, we were joking. We just wanted you to get better marks. What the flip?
broke some bad news to them.
Oh.
They admitted it was all one big prank. You see, the teachers had lied about going to
Oh,
Disneyland.
I had a teacher at school that I can imagine doing this. Mr. Lombard. If you watch him, Mr. Lombard, you made my life hell. Absolute hell. The amount of hardings, I got caned by that guy so many times, and I hated him. I hated that guy. I still to this day hate him. And yeah, if I'd run into him when I was a teenager or even a young man, I can promise you now I would have got him back for all the hardings he got me. There's always that one teacher, and he was it. So Mr. Lombard, if you ever see this, if anyone knows Mr. Lombard, I freaking hate your guts.
News to them. They admitted it was all one big prank. You see, the teachers had lied about going to Disneyland, and really, they were going to the local bowling alley. The teachers got a cheap laugh, but the kids were furious, and the prank was even caught on camera.
We're gonna take him bowling instead
Next
of
up
Disneyland.
is snacks. This is one of the smallest and weirdest school trips on this list.
Snack.
One day at Wells Middle School, teacher Heather Kaggle was teaching math. However, she got a little hungry, as you do, but she decided to sneak 11 students into a car for a snack run.
11?
7 went in the back seat, 2 in the front seat, and 2 in the trunk.
7 in the back seat, 2 in the front, and 2 in the trunk or boot. What the flip?
Must have looked
What
like
a
a clown car.
nutcase.
No offense, girls. They drove to a local Walmart and grabbed some snacks.
She had to have got fired.
On top of all this, she had to leave 2 students alone in the classroom as they wouldn't fit in her packed car. She was obviously immediately fired,
Yeah.
and maybe the most irresponsible teacher on this list.
Flipped it.
What do you think?
Most irresponsible teacher on the list. There was 2 on the list that kids actually passed away. How can she...
Check out the
Yes,
blog
she's
at the top right corner.
irresponsible, but not the most irresponsible. I think the most irresponsible were the kids who were the ones involved where the kids actually passed away or got lost in the mountains. Yes, she was irresponsible, but flippin' heck, to say she was the most, I mean, 2 people lost their lives. Anyway, what a random video. Let me know your thoughts if there's anything you've witnessed or been part of on your school trip. And also, put the name of the nastiest teacher you had down in the comments. Let's call them out. Mr. Lombard, giving me bad dreams, man. Anyway, guys, thanks so much for watching. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you hit the subscribe button, and I will see you in the next video. Peace.